What's up? Hey, before we start, I want to give it a couple of minutes just to see if a couple more people join. I need to know if you can hear me. I need to know if you can see your pop-up box and if you can see the YouTube page that I have up. I would appreciate that. All right. And you can hear me clearly. Okay. What a fucking finish. Um, I'm gonna say a few things, and then I'll try to read some of your comments if you got any questions. But um, I think there were moments in the race where it kind of just settled in. It's a track position race. It's always been that way. It's very difficult to pass. And for the most part, it was a very respectful race. It was more typical Martinsville. Um, I thought coming in that if we got a late restart, I'm thinking like with less than 10 laps to go, I was sure the leader would get wrecked. Didn't really happen. There was still just over 30 laps to go with the last restart. And I think there were enough laps where people weren't that desperate, so we didn't see what we saw yesterday, which I love because I don't want to see any more. I don't like seeing that just wrecking somebody to win. But we did see people beating and banging. It was exciting. Um, and when the tire wear kicked in after a long run, it got better. So you saw people kind of fading, the handling kind of, getting much more difficult. I do think that, you know, there's two issues I have right now that I think NASCAR can fix. Um, Ross's lap was 2 seconds faster than Bell's. You know something? Someone else is going to make that move. Now they know you can do it. This car is a lot more sturdy. And if you ride that wall and you just floor it, if he's 2 seconds quicker than the leader, somebody's going to do that with a lap on the last lap. This is going to happen every race. So this car is a lot more resilient. I didn't think the car looked that bad after the announcer said that he destroyed the right side of the car. But when I saw it, it didn't look that bad. So that's a move you can make in the last lap. And other people are going to do it. Now they know it can be done. What a finish. What a move. Um, but I thought this was one of the more exciting, at least finishes to any race that we've had in the playoffs. And for those of you who hate the playoff system, here is when it actually worked in terms of excitement. Um, Again, I'm not saying it's perfect, it needs work, but you would not have this level of excitement if it wasn't for the playoffs. The battle, there were battles everywhere, and the battle between Chastain and Hamlin went right down to the last corner. So that was amazing. They were tied. Hamlin made a pass, then Chastain got by somebody, and it was just, you could not ask for a better finish. So NASCAR has to be thrilled. That was an amazing finish. It was exciting. The entire last run of that, those 30 laps, pure excitement. I actually got up from my seat. I ran up to the TV because it was great what I was seeing. Again, old school beating and banging. The whole term rubbing is racing is very old school. This was more of what I think of when I think of rubbing is racing. Not completely just obliterating somebody. Now, we did see a couple of people just get, like Chase Briscoe, he got used up. But he was on old tires. And listen, these guys are desperate. It's playoffs. There's a lot going on. And if you stay out on old tires, I really think you should expect to get run over. So it's not like he got completely obliterated, but it was pretty bad. Um, and Bell, it's just there was really good stuff throughout the whole field, at least of the lead lap guys. I was excited. It was great. That's everything you could hope for from a playoff race. So I thought it was good. Now, the entire race overall, yeah, it had its moments where everything would just settle down. Nobody could pass. But is that really any different from past Martinsville races? Um, so here are two things that I would like to see that I think would make a difference. One, I don't like that they shift at any oval track. We've seen them shifting at oval tracks this year, at short tracks and stuff. I don't think it does anything except maybe help you manage your brakes on entry and maybe some of your tire wear. So the car rotates better when you downshift. But it doesn't really visually for the viewer, it doesn't add much because the cars are still having a very hard time breaking track position. So Denny Hamlin brought this up earlier in the year, and I agree with him. I really think they need to mandate specific gearing so that once you're in high gear, you don't downshift. I just don't see shifting at an oval track. I don't see any benefit to it, and I'm not crazy about it. It does tax the transmission as well, so that's something that I don't really care for. But the other thing, which I'm sure everybody will agree with, is if they added more horsepower to these cars, I think it would make the short track racing better because now the handling would become even more critical. Guys would be pushing these cars, over driving, or in and out of the corners, right? Even on exit, at a track like Martinsville, if you get more horsepower, a lot more people are going to wear out those tires. So tire wear is going to increase and it's going to kick in sooner. There was tire wear in this race, but it didn't kick in for after like maybe 50, 55 laps when you noticed it. So if you add horsepower, it would, I think, alleviate a lot of these issues. And I think it would just make the racing better across the board. I don't understand the need to cap it where it is. I would just add another 50 to 75 horsepower and just cap it and then see what happens. I think it would just help across the board. But outside of that, I don't have much to complain about. The racing was, in many ways typical Martinsville, classic Martinsville. It's always been track position. So anyone who complains about how hard it is to pass, that's not anything new. It's always been hard to pass at Martinsville, and you always had to kind of push and shove your way around the track. That's not new, right? So what we don't want to see is what we saw yesterday. But that move by Chastain, that's going to be replayed forever. That's going to be one of those clips that every time they come to Martinsville, they're going to play that. And now other drivers know that it actually works. And the announcers said, that's a video game move. Yes, it is. I remember doing that in the Eutechnics games where you just held it wide open at Martinsville or even New Hampshire and you would just blow by everybody. So yeah, it's a video game move, and because this car is so solid and rigid, it really didn't do much damage. It did damage the wheels because when you're going around that wall, it's just, you can't do that more than once, right? So you got to save that for the end. But wow, what a finish. So now I'm going to look at some of the stuff you guys are talking about. I'm sure you guys probably enjoyed that last run as much as I did. All right. 2 seconds faster. That's insane. 18.8, a track record. New rule incoming. I don't know what rule they can place, but I mean, I hope they don't make a rule against that move. It would be funny if next year the whole field does that. I'm telling you, everybody knows it works now. So I don't know what they can do. What can you do to stop people from doing that? It's gonna be insane. So, it's just wow. That was a hell of a move. I mean, you can't take anything away from him. And for him to think of doing that, I mean, it was desperation, but just to think of it, fuck it, that I'd rather see somebody try that where no one else is really at risk. It's just you in the car and you're just, sending it in. Um, that was a great move. I I am not really a Ross Chastain fan, but that was amazing. And wow, it was so stupid but amazing at the same time. Bad just to resort to just wall riding. Yeah, I know. It's a fucking video game move, right? So it is kind of stupid that you could get away with that, but I don't know what to say, right? It's like I can't help but enjoy that moment. It's like, wow, it sucks if you're a Hamlin fan. I am not a Denny Hamlin fan, so to know that he got kicked out with that move, and it was so you could not script that better. So inside, I feel great. It's funny, but I could see this thing getting crazy, like out of control. I'm sure NASCAR is right now scrambling to say, I don't know if this is going to be a good or bad thing to allow. Maybe they look at it like, fuck it. Everybody's going to tune in because they want to see who tries that, right? And there's only one time you could try that, the last lap. You can't do that anytime sooner. But that was great. I mean, I don't know what to say. Um, think overall the race was okay. I've never been a big Martinsville fan. I'm not a I'm a mile and a half track fan. That's basically my favorite type of racing. But I've enjoyed short tracks and occasionally even the road courses have been entertaining to watch. I don't want more road courses. I think they added too many. But um, I tell you what, whenever they come back to Martinsville, that's what people are going to think of. I thought they were speeding it up when I first. Yeah, that's the other thing. I kept thinking that the replay was on high speed, and I almost could hear Benny Hill music in the background. It's just crazy. It's like it didn't look real. So let's see if I could find that finish. Oh yeah, here we go. It's already up.
Ross Chastain used the wall all the way around this racetrack.
It does. Wait a minute. There has to be a better one. I can't fucking believe that. That shit looked crazy. Where is it? Hold on. He came out of nowhere. I didn't even know what happened till like after they showed the replay. All right, hold on. Hold on. I hit the wrong one. Where is the fucking Okay. Fucking commercial.
We need new heroes.
And it's time for us to show people who we truly are.
Are those jelly beans on your belt?
The pressure is a different
I was celebrating for Hamlin. Well, sorry, man. If you're a Hamlin fan,
We've given them an opportunity
one of the
to
few times you can
dream.
pass
Let's
the
go.
highlight. Hamlin was out by how many? Dude, yeah, it did look fake.
You're all
Dude, you can't script it any closer than that. All right, hold
Oh
on.
my goodness, I have never.
That was wild, man. That was wild.
Can you guys
And look
hear
at
the
right
video?
side of the car. It's destroyed. But he just did it. Ross Chastain, a 7th generation watermelon farmer.
I gotta say something. First of all, I want to know if you guys can hear the video. Okay. Um, I am getting a little bit. It's getting on my nerves every time they mention that he's a watermelon fifth generation, whatever generation watermelon farmer. I get it. He's a watermelon farmer. Big fucking deal. They act like he's a fucking astronaut. You know. It's cool. Like one time you hear it, they don't need to keep beating you over the head with it. And it kind of reminds me of every time they would talk about Ryan Newman and being an engineer, like a fucking having a degree in engineering. It's like, okay, it's cool, but how many times you're gonna beat people over the head with it? It does get a little old. So I really don't want to keep hearing about the watermelon thing, but that was great. Let's see. That is not look great look for a sport. Yeah, I get it. I agree. It's like it is kind of weird and silly, but it's a move that's going to live on forever. It's like imagine if you pull that off for the win. I'm telling you, whoever's in second place is going to do that every fucking year. I mean, I don't know what NASCAR could come up with. Okay, thanks. I appreciate that. This is a one-time thing. This can't happen again. There's not even a rule for this. I don't know. How can you stop it? I don't know. It's like, do you lose? What are they gonna do? Send you to the back of the, I don't know, man. I guess they could if they want. They want to stop it, but I think if NASCAR steps in to try to stop it, you may have a lot of people who actually like that. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of liked it one time. Like, that's one moment he got away with it, but I'm not sure I want to see this every year, look, or every time. And I guarantee you, forget about Martinsville. Somebody's gonna try this at fucking New Hampshire, Richmond. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure that people are gonna start looking at which tracks they can ride the wall and just floor it, because you only need to do it on one corner. Like that's not gonna work two corners or a full lap. Yeah, I can't decide if it's good or not. That's how I feel. I don't know. Is this a good thing? It is kind of clownish, like, but from after all the shit we have been seeing in NASCAR, I don't think this was anywhere near as bad as some of the other shit we've seen. If anything, it's just, I don't know, man. I am conflicted. One second. Hello, engineers. Yes. Yep. Yep. Yes. The Oh, you're talking about what on out to the roof? I think I'm not sure if we got the key, but I'm sure we somewhere there's a key. Why? Yep. Okay. I'm gonna try to find the key. It might take a while, but I'll come down as soon as I can. Okay. Right. Right. No problem. Sorry about that. I am at work, and somebody called about something. I'm not planning to do a super long live stream. Uh, this was like a test. I'm still figuring this stuff out, but thanks to you guys, I think I got the hang of it. And then whenever I want to do more live streams in the future, I should be able to jump on and everything works. And I'm glad everything seems to be working. I'm sure it'll be easier for me as time goes on. So I'll stick around for a couple of minutes and then I'm gonna have to go because I'm at work. So let's see. Debbie Downers, not you, Disco. Who's the Debbie Downers? Oh, I guess the people that don't like it. Look, I kind of understand. I understand why people didn't like that, but I also understand why people did like it. I'm conflicted. Like, it's a cool moment. It's hilarious. I'm gonna show you the replay again. I kept thinking that they're speeding up the camera. It just looked weird. And anyway, let's watch.
Was supposed to be racing in the Xfinity Series a couple years ago.
Watch this.
That ride got pulled away from
Look,
it. It looked as
the car doesn't. I mean, it's got a little scrape. The wheels, though, if you look at the wheels, they have damage on them. Like, so obviously, if you try this for a full lap, you probably blow out the tires and all that. But for one corner, and this looks it's just damage to some scrape, a little bit of damage to the skin on the car. Nothing. You could keep.
so his career
Watch.
in NASCAR was done.
Watch this.
Take a look again at what just happened.
Look at how he just
Watch on
blows
the right
by
side of your screen.
at the last second.
One outside over here. Outside.
That's amazing.
Ross
Look at that.
Chastain used the wall all the way around this racetrack.
What the fuck?
Ross Chastain
Look at
used
that.
the
That's
wall
like-
all the way around this.
All right. All right. So this is what you guys should be hearing when that's playing.
Sleep Number smart sleepers
Oh,
get
fuck
28 minutes
you
more restful
with the
sleep per night.
commercial.
Visit sleepnumber.com to shop now.
We're in their corner and
Oh,
on it.
come
Because their
on.
local agent is a small
I got to
business
start
owner,
using
too.
ad block. I know. That should be playing in the background when you see that replay. Somebody's got to. You know what? I should have edited that clip. Edwards, yeah, I remember that. That's what I thought when I saw that replay. I was thinking of that music. Yeah, Carl Edwards. He didn't really. It wasn't like on purpose, was it? I think he just overdrove. But yeah, that's the closest example. Yeah, somebody else thinks it's embarrassing. This is the top level of motorsports, and it looks like NASCAR heat stuff. I agree. I don't. This isn't going to be good. I think NASCAR. The more you think about it, they're going to have to do something because it is going to be crazy. Imagine half the guys on the last lap doing that shit at other tracks. It's not going to be a good look. So enjoy it. I think NASCAR, they're going to have to come up with something because that's not cool. But I don't know what to say, man. It was kind of, I did enjoy it. I mean, I guess if I was a Hamlin fan, I'd be really pissed. But you can only do it for one corner. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you can't get away with that. Larson did it at Phoenix? Did he? I don't remember that. If he took out people as he made that move, then yeah, this would be so much worse. I agree. The only saving grace is there was, he's all the way at the top. Nobody's up there. But he did almost hit Keselowski. Like Keselowski, when he went at the very last second as he crossed the line, he had a head of steam. And if Keselowski was further up the track, yeah, he would have plowed into him. That wouldn't have been good. Yeah, it is better than dumping somebody, right? So that's why I think, I can't say I'm super okay with it. I don't want to see this happen again. But for this one time, I could just enjoy it for what it is. That's better than dumping somebody. I really hate that. I don't like just punting people. Like, that's, who's harvesting Hamlin fan tears? There's a lot of people pissed, man. I could imagine if you're a fan and to lose your chance at a championship with a video game move like that. That's got to be... You're welcome. I'll try to do more live streams. I can't promise anything. I don't want to commit to every time, when a race is over that I'll do a live stream. I don't know. It depends how I feel. And again, keep in mind, I'm at work. So we'll see what happens. But I'm definitely going to live stream more often. Well, anything I do is more often because I've never live streamed before until recently. So you should do live with What If. I'd love to do it. But that would have to be on his end somehow. Like you would have to really dumb it down for me. You see how hard it is for me to just get this going. And I don't want to screw it up for somebody else, but if I could be part of a live with somebody else, I'd love to do it. I would love to. No problem. Yeah, he's lucky there was nobody near the wall. That's what I mean. Like he did blow by Keselowski. And if Keselowski was higher up, that would have been ugly. It kind of worked out. He got really lucky. It better not be every year that drivers will be using that move. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I think NASCAR is gonna have to think of something. At first, I'm like, what can they actually do to stop it? But if they want to, I guess they can just say, look, if you do that move, you're gonna lose your spots. You're gonna get sent to the back of the tail end of the longest line, and then nobody's gonna do it. So that's how you stop it. But you gotta be consistent and you gotta actually follow. NASCAR has a shitload of rules. So we don't really know what the rules are until they decide to follow through. That's the problem. If it was Gen 6, it would not work. You're right. This fucking car is pretty it's tough. So you could get away with that. But like I said, only for one corner. 13 years of watching NASCAR, I never seen anything like it. And it worked. Yeah, it's a fucking video game move. See, we got 2 days in a row where we saw a video game move. Yesterday, we saw Ty Gibbs, the little petulant child, pull a video game move and just destroy the leader for the win. So that's a video game move. And today we saw a video game move where it was actually, I think, a cool move. That he did it. He got away with it one time. I don't think, and I think people are right. NASCAR can't let this happen all the time. It's going to be a fucking, because could you imagine? I'm not sure there's much a team can do, but what if a team set up, how do you set up a car where you can do that? Fuck me. Hold on, guys. Hello, engineers. Yes. Okay, I appreciate it. Yeah. All right. If I get a chance, I'll check it out anyway. But I'm having a hard time finding the key. All right. Yes, I know where it is. It's like a tiny door. Yeah, I know what you. And it leads to that parapet on the roof. All right. Okay. Right. Bye. I'm back. All right. So, where are we? It was on purpose. Except with Edwards, it didn't work. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I remember he sent it. I think that was a race that Jimmy Johnson won. I think. I remember something like that. Won't work at Daytona, or Atlanta. Yeah, it has to be a short track. It has to be a track where people have to brake. Because that's why he was able to blow by everybody. They were all on the brakes going around the turn. It's not going to work at a fucking mile-and-a-half track. Like, it has to be at a short track. Larson almost did it against Hamlin at Darlington. Yeah, I forgot about that. That was a pretty good. But this time he pulled the fuck. That was total video game shit. He did it. Brad just bumped him. All right. Oh, he hit Brad. Yeah, he did kind of make contact with Brad, but it was nothing. That was better than the pass in the grass. It was. Like, I don't think anything is going to top this. Like, the only thing that might keep this from being an even bigger deal is the fact that it wasn't for the win. But still, it's like a win because it was to go to the championship. So, man, it's what a fucking finish. Yeah, won't work at big tracks. That's what I'm saying. I think this is okay. It's better than wrecking someone on purpose. I agree. I think that's what makes it for me okay. Like I don't, but I still don't want to see this become a regular thing. But I promise you, there's people back at the shop thinking, how can we prep this car where you can ride the wall for maybe a full lap or something? I mean, I don't know. It didn't require actual talent. Well, of course not. You know, if you can hold it wide open and ride the wall, but you still got to give them credit for thinking of doing it. I mean, I am not a Ross Chastain fan, but just to think of doing that and pulling it off, you can't take that away from him. Like, it really wasn't about driving talent. It was just he thought of doing it, he did it, and it worked. Wow. They're gonna talk more about this than the win for Bell. Stating the obvious, obviously it won't work at big tracks. NBC brought it up again, but man, Ryan Blaney really has a penchant for choking. Yeah, I mean, he's had some bad luck, but something else about Blaney, I kind of like Blaney. I'm not a huge fan, but he seems to have a problem. He's not, he's got anytime someone even taps him, he like really fucking he loses it. So it seems to happen a lot. Like he does have a kind of a short fuse, and they did mention it earlier in the broadcast. So you got a lot of guys, I guess, in the sport that have a short fuse, but he runs really well, and then something seems to happen all the time. People say the guy want to do they can to advance. Right there is leaving it on the track. Give me Chastain over Blaney sitting in fourth all day. Yeah, I mean, look, you give him credit for pulling a video game move, and it worked. But yeah, I'm not sure this is gonna. I'm just curious to see how NASCAR what they do going forward. People would have been mad if it was for the win. That's yeah. I think right now the people that are most upset, I think, are Denny Hamlin fans. Right? I get it. If your favorite driver loses a chance for the championship when somebody pulls a video game move, yeah, that's not fun. But the fact that it wasn't for the win, like winning like that, I think that would cause a lot of controversy. So it was good that it wasn't for the win. Say what you want. That was one of the top 5 moments in history. And that's what I'm saying. They're going to replay this shit forever. If Ross wins the championship, it would be so funny. For some people, I don't think Hamlin fans are going to find that funny. What about Kyle Busch quitting on his team today? I'm not sure what happened. I know his car was it was not handling at all. And he went down several laps early in the race. I don't know what happened after that, so I don't know how he quit. Let me know. I didn't really see much about him throughout the day. Let me know more information on that. But if he did quit, it goes along with his personality. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. People have tried this a million times before. Ross is the one who made it work. Carl and Larson failed. That's the difference. They tried it at bigger tracks. Those tracks, you're not slowing down in the corners as much as like Martinsville. Martinsville is what is the slowest track on the circuit. In the corner, they're on the brakes. They're just letting the car coast. So if somebody can ride the wall and floor it, you saw what happened. It looked like fucking Benny Hill. The film was sped up. It looked crazy. I'd call it racing cool. If Dale Earnhardt did that in the 90s, we'd consider it a god. Yeah, but I've always said this. People do judge things based on whether or not they like the person involved. When somebody you don't like does something, it's terrible. When it's your driver or somebody you like, you elevate it. So that's typical fan thinking, right? So yeah, if Earnhardt did it, forget it. It's a god tier move. You're right. That's the way life works. Imagine Elliott did that for the win. Again, it's just, people cannot separate being a fan and just being objective when they look at things. Bell is a clutch dude, did it when he had to. Yeah, I mean, he's a hell of a driver, and he took it. Bush was down 4 laps in last place, so it was handling the worst I've ever seen. Yeah, I've never seen his car handle that bad. His car was handling like it was a fucking Cody Ware car. Like I was shocked at how bad that car was running. I think they just missed the setup, and he just, from what I heard, the right rear or one of the rear tires was just, he was just obliterating it. So the car must have been super loose, and he just couldn't run. I was actually shocked. KFP quit because he was 3 laps and was lapped to fourth within 5 laps. Blaney restarted how many times in second and couldn't get it done. I mean, yeah, I don't know if he choked because he still ran great. It's just, there's always somebody that seems to have a better setup at the end. It's all the fanboy glasses. Excuse people's point of view, whatever someone does. I've always said that. It's like one guy does something and it's like he's the worst guy in the planet. Another guy does it. People look the other way. It really depends. Imagine Bubba Wallace pulling that Chastain move. I think the internet would have exploded. I don't think we'd be able to live stream right now. People would be losing their shit. He had a great run today, by the way, which was good to see. Kyle Busch was running lap times similar to BJ McLeod. Yeah, he was slow. I don't know what happened. They just missed it. I could see him losing his fucking temper too and kind of just fucking, yeah. I'm curious to know more. I'm sure the in-car radio must have been interesting. How you missed the setup, JGR? They did it on purpose. I don't know if they did it on purpose. I do know that we've seen race teams in the past when you have a guy that's in the playoffs and then they're not in the playoffs anymore. Especially if it's a multi-car team where other teams are still in the playoffs. I've seen it where they start running experimental stuff, like they start playing around with the engine. They start playing around with experimental setups because they want to kind of use those cars as guinea pigs to test things for next year and for the guys that are in the chase. So that if they can discover something, they can transfer that knowledge to the other cars. So it's possible they're trying shit, but I don't think they're doing it purposely because it's Kyle Busch and he's leaving. I think they're just doing it because he's out of the playoffs and this is something that happens. These race teams do sacrifice other cars that are not in running for anything, and they try stuff with those cars and let's see what happens, and maybe they use it as a test session. So there's no proof definitively that that's what they're doing, but it wouldn't surprise me. He's had a couple engine failures, which is very rare. So I can see they're experimenting with stuff. And when you experiment with things, you're going to have failures, and that's how you learn. Unfortunately, it's at somebody's expense. But that was crazy. Yeah, he did not run well at all. Bell was not clutch at Kansas. Out of nowhere, I refuse to believe they missed it that bad by accident. Yeah, like I said, they're probably testing stuff. Maybe I don't know. As someone who's not a fan of Bubba, I'd immediately respect him more if he did that. LOL. You're representing a very small group of people that would probably appreciate that. I'm telling you, if he pulled a move like that, the internet would go down. It would just explode. If Bubba did that move, Twitter will have been MAS. Twitter's a cesspool, man. I mean, I shouldn't be spending more time on Twitter, but I have been this past year, and I'll tell you, it is not healthy. It's not good for your mental health. It is the worst of the worst you see on Twitter. He cries a lot, but I've never seen Kyle quit. He does cry a lot, but I don't know if I would say he's never quit. Like, we would have to go back. I remember seeing a lot of crazy shit. I think he has quit in the past. I can't come up with a specific instance, but I've seen him just pull it into the garage when they could have still ran laps and or get out the car when they could have fixed it and actually, ran for points or some shit. I've seen him do that. So I don't think I'm mistaken, but I'm pretty sure it's happened multiple times throughout his career. If Bubba did do that to advance, I don't care how mad they cool move anyway. I don't want to see that move happen. I hope it's just a one-time thing. He had to have quit because he was within 3 to 4 laps of lost fourth lap. JGR blown motor two races in a row. I said, yeah, they blew 2 engines, so they're experimenting with stuff. Don't let Chastain's move make you forget how bad this race was. Yeah, like I said, it had those long green flags where it's hard to pass. But I do want to remind people, that's not new. There's going to be people that look at some of those long stretches and they're going to say, oh, it's the new car, it's this and that. Martinsville has always been a track position race. Very hard to pass. So this race didn't feel that different to me from past Martinsville races. That's my position on it. Was it a great race? No. But it wasn't that bad. I think that you only had a handful of cautions. It went long green flag. I think that once they got through the halfway point of a green flag run, the racing got better as people started fighting the handling and some people started falling back. But if you want to fix short tracks, add horsepower. More horsepower would change the ball game because now you got people struggling and overdriving their cars and buzzing the tires on exit. So adding more power would solve a lot of issues. Did you mention Reddick? Did he have a concussion? I think they said he wasn't feeling well and he decided to pull out. I never heard about what happened to Reddick. I don't know what happened. I thought maybe he was sick because nobody knew. And how do you have a concussion? I mean, he didn't crash, did he? He didn't really get hit or anything. So I don't know about the concussion thing. I don't know enough about what's going on. I would have to know more. Race was better than the spring. Yeah, it was better. So this was not as bad as the spring race. And I'm telling you, if you add some horsepower, it would really just make it better. I think NASCAR needs to up the horsepower. I'll talk more about that in a future video. They give Kyle R&D car. Yeah, that's what they do. These teams, once a guy has nothing to race for, and look, and Kyle's leaving, there's only a few races left. This is the time for teams to test things, right? So it sucks for Kyle, but it's really, that's what teams do. You want to, the things you can't try with other cars, you're going to try it with the cars that are not running for anything. So it happens. It happens to every driver. Kyle is not immune to it. It sucks for him, but it's just the way these that's the way it works. The race has too much shifting involved. I fucking agree. I don't like shifting on an oval track. There's something that just doesn't feel right about it, and it doesn't add anything to the race. Every oval track this year where they shift, they don't shift at all of them, but the ones where they do shift, I don't see people like if shifting helped you pass people. I know on paper it sounds like it should, but it's not helping people. Everybody's doing the same thing, so they're not. Add more power and change the gearing so that once you're in the high gear, you leave it like traditional oval tracks, and then with more horsepower, now the guys are just. It's about feathering the throttle. Who can manage those tires? And I think the racing will get a lot better. But there's not enough horsepower. Now, the mile and a half tracks have been so good this year, in my opinion, and them going from 550 to where is it? I'm not sure where it is now. Is it 625 or 675? I'm not sure, but whatever they did, it really helped. So adding just a little more power, 50 to 75 horsepower. That's it. It doesn't sound like a lot, but I think that would make a huge difference. But I'm not a fan of the shifting. And Denny Hamlin brought it up earlier this year, and I'm sure I know other drivers have brought it up. Change the gearing so that you can't downshift or it's not necessary at all. I don't like it. It doesn't feel right, and it doesn't really add anything to the racing. In fact, I think it helps them manage tires. When you downshift, you use less brake, and the car kind of rotates better in the corner. So, not allowing people to shift, they're going to have to use the brake a little more, and the car's going to push a little more in the corner. That stuff leads to tire wear. So we would see more tire wear, and who knows? So eliminating the shifting, it does affect a lot of things. So I would eliminate the shifting. And like I said, Hamlin already talked about it. And I think other drivers have mentioned it. Shifting on an oval needs to go. That shouldn't be a thing. So I'm not a fan of that at all. Shifting is for road courses. Leave it for road courses. Twitter and Facebook are bad. Yeah. I'm never going to Facebook. I've never done it, and I'm holding off. Twitter, I've gotten sucked into it this year. I'm sure some of you have seen me on Twitter, and I've gotten into back and forth with fucking dumbasses on Twitter. I got suspended 3 times this year from Twitter because they suspend you for anything. I just served a suspension like 2 weeks ago, a week-long suspension on Twitter for somebody mentioned something about Brett Favre, right? And I made a joke about Draymond Green, who punched a teammate in practice, Jordan Poole, right? For those, I'm not going to get into the whole thing. Some of you will know what I'm talking about, some of you won't. But as a joke, I responded to the guy who brought up Brett Favre by saying Draymond Green should have punched Brett Favre instead of Jordan Poole. To me, if you have half a brain that still works, you would understand that's a joke. I got suspended for a week for quote unquote promoting violence. That's how bad Twitter is. So it's one of those things where if you can avoid Twitter, avoid it. It's not good for your mental health. You're going to see the worst of people there. And I'll admit, I've gotten sucked into negativity myself. So, I'm still on it, but I used to only do YouTube, but I'm on Twitter as well. So I don't think it's really a good thing, but I got sucked in. So I don't know what to say. Kyle Busch got screwed by JGR, gave him the slowest card. Again, yeah, it's all about testing. They don't do it on purpose, right? Because at the end of the day, they still want to run as well as they can, but every team does it. They start testing and using specific parts or setups, and two blown engines back to back. That's not a coincidence, right? Blown engines are a very, very, very strange thing these days. It's very rare that it happens. So obviously they were experimenting with things. So it sucks for him, but I'm not a Kyle Busch fan, so it kind of makes me feel good that he's going through it. But I'm sure he can't wait to get away and go to Childress. All right, let's see. Internet would probably hate if Bubba did that. Yep. But for me, I appreciate drivers who are willing to do whatever it takes. We need more Earnhardts, less pushovers. I agree, but it doesn't. This move, it didn't bother me because, like other people have pointed out, and I said, he didn't wreck somebody, and it really didn't affect anyone except him. He took the risk, and he fucking he floored it up against the wall. It was a video game move. It worked, and for him to think about doing that, I got to give him credit. It doesn't really take talent to do it, but you still got to give him credit. That's a fucking. It's just. It's an amazing move. Texas 2007, when he left and Junior drove. Who's that? Yep. JGR and Bishore cost Kyle 3 wins. At least 3. I don't know. Kyle Busch has not. This. I know he's won, but this wasn't a great year for him, especially by his standards. Yeah. A lot of these new drivers seem like soy boys. That's and there are a lot of pussies in the sport. Like yesterday, I mean, I do commend Brandon Jones for not doing anything. So I honestly think he did the right thing by just carrying himself the way he did. He has a long future. He's still young, and I think the way he chose to conduct himself was in his best interest. But me, I do have kind of a temper, and there's no fucking way I would have let Ty Gibbs do that to me, and he would have just walked away with all of his fucking teeth intact. And he's got such a punchable face. I mean, I can't be the only one that thinks that. Like, if you look up douchebag or privileged fucking douchebag, in the dictionary, I think you'll see a picture of Ty Gibbs. It's just he has the look. Maybe I got that look. I shouldn't be talking about other people, but he just looks like it. Like a silver spoon, arrogant child. Love the long green runs. Compare this to Xfinity, and I think the racing itself was way worse today than yesterday. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think with more horsepower, that alone will solve a lot of these issues. And the short tracks have always been about track position. So the track position thing, I'm not sure is going to ever go away fully, right? It's a part of short track racing. But more horsepower is going to contribute to more tire wear. More tire wear is going to make the racing better. Like I said, when you look at the long green flag runs today, at the halfway point of the long run, the racing got better. You started seeing people make some passes. You started seeing a little bit of pushing and bumping and moving guys. The racing did get better. The problem is it takes so long to get to that point that by the time it does, you're kind of out of it. So I understand why people didn't think this was a great race. And it wasn't a great race. But it had potential. It had its moments. And I just see what I'm looking at is how can NASCAR make it better? You got to give these guys more power. That's going to solve so many issues. I think the racing is going to get better. Get rid of the shifting. And I just think it's going to produce more tire wear, and it's going to make it a lot more about feathering the throttle and how you manage that car. And I think the racing will get so much better. Add more power. More horsepower. That's right. NASCAR doesn't want more horsepower. They don't listen to fans. They don't listen to fans, but I don't know. You never know. They did add power this year, right? They came in with 550 and they made that change. So, as much as I understand, and I'm one of the people, we criticize NASCAR, but when they do something right, they do once in a while do something right. Also, I'm not going to talk about it now, but I'm going to do a video about some of the changes they're doing. They've been testing the safety changes, things like that. So they're not just sitting on their hands. So I do think they deserve some credit here and there. Reddick hit the wall last week. Oh, so you're saying that I know he hit the wall last week, but I wasn't even thinking of that. Maybe during the race he was experiencing maybe headaches or some kind of. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, I don't know if they've confirmed it, but that's not good. Thankfully, we only have what is it? Just the championship race, and then on to next year. And I think NASCAR is going to do a lot to really make changes to the car to hopefully make it better. And hopefully, you never know. Keep your fingers crossed. Maybe they decide to add a little power. But I think that people have sort of forgotten the positives of this new car, and they're so focused on the negatives. I'm going to do a video talking about all that stuff, after the season. So let's see. The race was not bad. People say, oh, too many cautions, and then they want long green flag runs. Then they get it, say it was boring. I totally agree. I do like long green flag runs. That's why I'm saying, for me, even though the race wasn't great, it was okay for me. It was okay for me. And I came in, I know it's a track position type of race. It's never been easy to pass at Martinsville. So anybody that's complaining about how hard it is to pass at a track like Martinsville, come on, man. I mean, if you've been watching NASCAR for any length of period, you know that there's certain tracks where it's just hard to pass. So I like the long green flag runs. I do. But, more horsepower, it would just make it so much better. Totally agree. Just got more horsepower. You get stuck in a bubble here. Yep. Shifting should have been only on restart. That's what I'm saying. I don't like that shifting. And when you notice when they're shifting, they're not really making ground on anybody or pulling away from anybody. So everybody's doing it. It doesn't change anything. The only thing the shifting is doing, in my opinion, it's saving on the brakes and managing tire wear. So if you can't downshift, the car's going to push a little more in the corner. Because when you downshift, then what you get is the trans brake is doing some of the braking for you. The car, it just naturally kind of lunks down to the lower gear, and the car rotates a lot easier. You don't have to use the brake as much. Also, it doesn't push as much. And when you're not pushing, you're not wearing the tire as much. So forget about the horsepower. That's another thing. But just changing the gearing so that there's no shifting, that alone will increase tire wear. And it will make it a lot harder for guys getting into the corner. Have you noticed that compared to years past, you don't see that many people overdriving the corner? Like you see in Xfinity, you see it in the old car. Why? Like, yeah, there's a bigger brake package here, but it's also that downshifting. It really helps the car slow down and turn in the corner. When you don't have to downshift, you got to use more brake, and you make more mistakes. You rarely see people overdrive the corner. It happened only a few times. So that shifting is not good. Larson had 3 blown engines this year. Yeah, I mean, I forgot about that. But blown engines are still, a rare thing. Social media will drive a sane man mad. I ditched all social media. Good for you. Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, all of it. Years ago, it's crazy how you find better ways to fill the time when you're not scrolling. I couldn't agree with you more. And I commend you if you can walk away from social media, even though YouTube is part social media, but it's Facebook, Twitter, and Reddit are just, they're so much worse. It's like the worst of people comes out, like an alter ego almost. Like, it's crazy. And it's not good for you psychologically. It's just not healthy. So I'm kind of sucked into it a little bit, and I don't know. But if you can pull away, good for you. I recommend it. Ty Gibbs looking like the fictional Silver Spoon rival from the F1 video games. Perfect analogy. Ty Gibbs is great. Put a race sometime like a dump. Chase Elliott is a silver spoon, just like a lot of... Yeah, he's another one. He comes across that way too. I think having many winners is worse for the sport than a few. Sports have always done better when there are a few dominant players because casual fans have someone to root for. I'm not sure about that. I don't think it's that good when you have 4 or 5, the same handful of guys dominating the entire sport. Where when every race you go to, you're immediately thinking, well, there's only 2 or 3 guys that, it's one of those guys that is going to win. I think this year, going in, you truly don't know. Like, anyone can step up and win. And I would agree if these were just bullshit wins, but we are watching people step up their game and run well throughout an entire race. I think the racing's been really good this year and I like the fact that you just don't really know who's going to win coming into a race. Just my opinion. I do think that as time goes on and more of these big teams figure out the car, eventually you're going to start seeing less and less people with a chance to win. So eventually it is going to get down to maybe a handful of drivers. But I think this season's been pretty good. Especially the 1.5 mile track races and the 2-mile races. Those have been phenomenal. Kind of off topic, but did you ever play World of Outlaws? I haven't played it. I don't have a lot of playtime. Like, whatever my free time is, it's either I'm on iRacing, Red Dead Redemption, I've been playing NBA 2K, and sometimes I'm on Wreckfest. Like, I don't have time. And for me to go out and get that game, it has to be a game I really, really, really want to play. So I've been watching other people play World of Outlaws. I can tell it's a great game. It's very polished. It looks like, if you're into dirt racing, it's a lot of fun. I'm just not into dirt racing. I don't know. It's not my cup of tea. So I get why it's a great game, and I can tell people are enjoying it. But am I gonna go out of my way to buy it? Like, I gotta have it. I gotta play it. I'm not feeling it. And my time is I don't have a lot of time on my hands. So I don't see myself getting it. I really don't. But it's not because I don't think it's a great game, because I do. I see other people playing it. I've watched What If Racing playing it. It looks like a really, really good game. For serious fans, I agree more winners is better, but I know since some sports, I'm a casual fan, and having dominant players give me someone to root for. I understand what you're saying, but I look at it this way. When you see people just step up and somebody you don't expect, and they're able to step up and win, to me, that's exciting. Like, I don't get excited to see Kyle Larson win because he wins a lot. When you see Kyle Busch win, the guy, he's supposed to win a lot. So like when they win, even if you root for them, to me, it kind of loses something. Like I've always rooted for underdogs, so I'm not used to getting somebody winning a lot that I root for. So it's like for me, it's so rare that when it happens, it feels so good because it's rare. So before I was a Suarez fan, I was a Jamie McMurray fan my whole career. I mean, my whole career, his whole career, um, but as a fan, right? But he only won a handful of races in his career. But when he won, it felt like a fucking championship to me because it was rare. So you should try to enjoy when something happens less. It makes it more special when it happens. And if the people you root for are winning all the time, it's I don't know. To me, it takes something away from it. Okay, understandable. Time comes at a premium. The older you get, finding that out the hard way. Yeah, I'm 52 years old and I'm working, and I don't have a lot of free time, and I try to get as many iRaces in as I can, but I don't get as many as I want to. And for me to go out and get a game on top of the ones I'm already playing, it has to be something I really want. So Michael Waltrip is my favorite. And when he won that truck race at Daytona after retired from Cup, I was screaming at the top. You see, that's what I'm talking about. You know, when something happens less, when it finally does happen, it's you don't forget it. You don't forget it. And it makes it more special. Of course, yeah. If I want my favorite drivers to win every week, but if they did, I don't know if I'd enjoy it as much. It's just I like knowing when I'm watching these races that you never really know who's going to win. And it's very competitive. Like the races have been really good this year. The ones that suck, but a lot of the races that suck always suck. For me, these plate races, I hate them. They've always been that way. Short tracks, I like short tracks. I'm not in love with short tracks, but they've always been track position races. This is the way. What we saw today, I'm not surprised at all. I'm surprised at the ending, but yeah, it was a typical Martinsville race. And it was better than the spring race. So I'm telling you, add a little horsepower, take away the shifting, and I'm telling you, it would be even better. So, a lot better. Hope when Jimmy races a cup race, he'll win. I don't know. Is he coming back? If almost everyone can win, then there are no underdogs. Well, there's still underdogs. I don't think it's at the point where, like, fucking, you got mid-pack drivers that, to me, they're more competitive, but it would still be a shock if they won. So, like Corey LaJoy, he almost won a race, right? Was it at Atlanta? But, he almost pulled it out. So, you still got drivers that I don't think it's even all the way down the line. Like, everyone is more competitive, and you still got the big names usually winning. So even though I don't think it's at a point where anybody could win, so I wouldn't go that far. I like where it is now, and I think it's a good thing. And yeah, that's how I feel about it. Yeah, it's not I you're not I you the Alan Kulwicki thing. Yeah, that's a once in a lifetime thing, and what made it so special was because back then you like that was an era where you only had a handful of guys who were winning all the races. So when he came along and won that championship, yeah, that's an all-time fucking season because of that. But you're not going to see that often. that's a very, very rare thing. So if we get back to the point where only a handful of guys are winning every week, the chances of you seeing an Alan Kulwicki rise up and just sneak up on everybody, I don't know if we'll ever see that again. So that to me is not that realistic. Gibbs' tendency to let great drivers walk. Yeah, well, Joe Gibbs, yeah, they let Tony walk, they let Kyle walk, they dumped Suarez, knowing damn well he was capable. I agree, but Joe Gibbs is weird. Didn't they have Logano and let him go too? So I don't know what it is with Gibbs. There's something strange there. I don't think his leash is that long, right? I mean, Ty Gibbs is going to have the longest leash. That's his grandson. But I really think that I just feel like he knows he can always get a top level driver. So for him to let someone go, he's like, I'll just get some other top level guy to come in and he'll be just as capable. I think they let Logano go, and he went to Penske, and everything changed. So you never know. But yeah, he's weird that way. I don't know what it is. Logano's another one. Yeah, I think he honestly a mediocre team owner who has been carried by his drivers. I wouldn't call him mediocre. I don't like Joe Gibbs, but I have to give him credit. I know for a fact. I think he's a good. I think he was good as an owner. I remember him as a coach in the NFL, Hall of Famer. His big thing was always, it's not so much the X's and O's, but getting the right people and putting them in the right position. He's always been good at that. He was good at that as a head coach, and he's been good at that as an owner. I can't call him mediocre. I can't. I can't agree with that. The guy has had too much success, and it's not just the drivers. It's the organization. It's the people. Everything that makes. Remember, they always have like the best pit crews. They always the fastest, pit times. It's not just signing a great driver and like, they're winning. It takes a lot to win. So I can't say he's mediocre. He is proven himself to be a Hall of Fame type of owner in NASCAR. I can't take that away from him. I don't like Joe Gibbs. I don't like any of the drivers. I don't like that organization. But I can't, I can't look at it as a fan. I have to be honest, and I can't take that away from him. And he's gotten away with letting really, really good drivers go because he gets another one. Everybody wants to drive for that organization because they have great equipment. They have fast cars. They got good people. They're successful. They've been successful for a long time. So if Kyle, this is why letting Kyle Busch go is not that big a deal to him. I'm not saying Ty Gibbs is going to be another Kyle Busch, but he's talented. I don't like him at all. But he seems talented. So I don't think it was that big a deal for him to let Kyle Busch go. I don't think he feels like it's like whatever. If we could work it out, we do. If not, Brad ran really good. Keselowski ran real good today. At one point, who got into him? Was it Chastain? Yeah, he overdrove the corner. I think that was one of the cautions. But he ran really good today. Yeah, that whole organization, they're running really well. That's a fair point. Maybe mediocre was harsh. I suppose I should have said overrated. Yeah, I get it. Like if you want to talk about somebody just not liking him for whatever reason, I get it. I don't like him. Another thing that rubs me a little bit the wrong way, but this is totally just me. It's personal. It's not, I wouldn't even call it a legitimate reason not to like someone. But I also think that his whole, I think he's really religious. And I don't know, man. I'm not a religious person. And it kind of rubs me the wrong way when people are overtly religious. Like they kind of let it spew out into the public. Like your private life is your private life. But when you see these guys constantly praying and kneeling and blah, 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 and it's like, oh, I don't know. That's just a personal thing. I'm gonna have to replay this live stream. Had to see what your thoughts were on the race. Thank you, I appreciate that. If you want to sit through it, well, especially at the end, I thought he would have gotten the lead from when Briscoe was, yeah, that ending, man. They're gonna be replaying that forever. So that was amazing. I gotta go. I got some things I gotta do at work, and I thank you guys for hanging around, and please let me know what you thought of the live stream. What can I do better? What worked? What didn't work for you? Like, did everything work properly? Like, sound wise, and just let me know. Yeah, comparing yourself to Jesus. Jesus Christ. I'll never get over that. But I appreciate the time you guys took to come and hang out. And I'm going to do more live streams, but I don't want to commit. Like, I don't want to say, hey, I'm going to do this every week. And I'm somebody that likes to do things just when it just come, when I feel like it. If I feel like doing a video on something, I'll do it. If I want to live stream, I'm just going to do it. I'm also going to once in a while when I'm playing on my PS5, if I'm just hanging around playing, I'll live stream it. Yeah, so I'm just feeling my way around, and I'm just glad somebody cares enough to watch. So I appreciate you guys always, and yeah, I'm gonna go. I got to get to work. I thank you for everything, and videos, background noise for years. Thank you. I appreciate all the comments, guys. So yeah, that's gonna be it for the live stream, and I'm gonna leave you guys with the late great Benny Hill. Later.